Welcome, everyone. Well, actually, I should say welcome to you, our listener, to the deep dive. Today's journey is it's a bit different.
Yeah, it really is. It's a lot more personal today, I think.
Yeah.
We're talking about finding stability when, honestly, the world just feels incredibly unstable.
Right. I mean, imagine watching the most dishonest person you know get promoted. Like
Wow.
they make CEO, right?
Oh, yeah. We've all seen that happen.
And meanwhile, the hardest worker in your office, like the person who does everything completely by the book, they get laid off.
It's brutal. Your immediate instinct in that moment is just, it's that the universe is broken.
Exactly. Because, we are taught from a very young age that life operates on this fundamental mathematical equation. You put in the hard work, you get the reward.
Right. You treat people well and you get treated well in return. That's the
And
promise.
then you step out into the actual reality of human systems and you see that dishonest promotion, and it just feels
Or like a glitch in the matrix.
yes, a total glitch. So today's deep dive is about why that glitch isn't actually a glitch at all.
Yeah, and how a text from thousands of years ago predicted the exact, toxic environment you might be sitting in right now.
Exactly. So for our overview today, we are exploring the ancient biblical text of Ecclesiastes chapter 8. Specifically, we're looking at the King James Version, and we've paired it with a modern application guide that really breaks down its practical wisdom.
It's such a profound pairing, because what makes this text so timeless is its complete refusal to offer those easy cliches we always reach for.
Oh, totally. No sugarcoating here.
Right. Our mission for today's deep dive is, well, twofold. First, we're going to summarize the sometimes jarring, brutally honest observations made in this ancient text.
And second, we want to apply that wisdom to our modern lives. We want to explore how this information can ultimately strengthen our trust and relationship with God when life feels honestly just deeply unfair. Okay, let's unpack this. Because reading Ecclesiastes 8 is kind of like having that one mentor or friend who absolutely refuses to coddle you. Oh, I love that comparison. The one who just tells it like it is.
Right. They won't pat you on the back and say, oh, everything happens for a reason. They just give you the exact gritty advice you actually need to hear.
Yeah, and the chapter really opens with a fascinating contrast. It starts with this glow of wisdom, right?
Yeah, verse 1 says something like, a man's wisdom maketh his face to shine. It's this beautiful, ideal image.
But then, almost immediately, the writer crashes us straight into the harsh, uncompromising reality of human authority.
Yeah, the whiplash is real. I have to push back a bit on verses 2 through 4, actually.
Okay, lay it on me.
Well, the text advises keeping the king's commandment, basically noting that a ruler does whatsoever pleaseth him.
Right, where the word of a king is, there is power.
Exactly. And honestly, reading that, it just feels, I don't know, it feels oppressive. Isn't this just instructing us to put our heads down, bite our tongues, and be blindly subservient to broken systems? I mean, I get why it sounds like that. It sounds like an endorsement of tyranny on the surface. But what's fascinating here is the core wisdom being taught.
Which is what? Because it just sounds like giving up.
Well, the writer is acknowledging that authority exists, and pragmatically, it deserves respect if you want to survive. But they explicitly acknowledge that rulers can and do act unjustly.
Oh, right, there's that shift a few verses down.
Exactly. Verse 9 points out that there is a time wherein one man ruleth over another to his own hurt.
To his own hurt. Man, that really reframes the whole power dynamic, doesn't it?
It totally does. The writer knows the ruler is flawed. Tyranny obviously damages the oppressed, but it ultimately hollows out the oppressor too.
So the wisdom isn't just blind obedience, it's knowing how to navigate both realities that authority holds the sword, but it's also deeply, fatally flawed.
Precisely. But, recognizing that a ruler is flawed doesn't really solve the emotional toll of watching them get away with it.
Oh, not at all. Which brings up, honestly, the most agonizing observation in the whole text.
The problem of unpunished evil.
Yes. Verse 11 hits so hard. It says that because a sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, people's hearts are fully set to do evil.
That is just such an incredibly accurate psychological insight. I mean, why does injustice spread like a virus in a corporate office?
Because of the delay. When a bad actor gets away with something, it's like the social contract just fractures.
Right. And then verse 14 highlights what the writer calls the ultimate vanity.
Yeah, just men getting what the wicked deserve and wicked men getting what the righteous deserve. The total inversion of justice.
It really is.
It's like, okay, think about being in high school, right?
Yeah.
You see someone cheat their way through every single test.
Oh, yeah. We all knew that kid.
Right. And they never get caught. And then at the end of the year, They get named valedictorian.
Ugh, that makes my stomach turn just thinking about it.
Right. It fundamentally breaks our sense of fairness. The human brain looks at that delay in consequences and interprets it as a complete absence of consequences.
Exactly. And that delay normalizes the bad behavior for everyone else.
So this leads to a very natural modern reaction, I think. If we know the system is this glitchy, shouldn't we just be able to figure out the cheat code?
What do you mean by cheat code?
Like, we live in the information age. We have data, we have podcasts, we have endless analysis. Why can't we just analyze the variables and outsmart the unfairness?
Ah, yeah. That is the ultimate temptation of the human intellect. But the writer anticipates it perfectly.
They really do. Verses 16 and 17, right?
Yeah. The writer applied their heart to know wisdom, to figure out the mechanics of the universe, losing sleep over it.
But the conclusion is just devastating. No man can find out the work that is done under the sun.
Yep. Even if a wise man thinks he knows it, he won't be able to actually find it. The human intellect has a hard ceiling.
It's like trying to understand the plot of a 1,000-page novel by staring at one single word on page 400 through an electron microscope.
That is a perfect analogy. You have high-definition data, but zero context for the actual story.
Right. We only see the immediate ripple, not the entire pond.
And this directly challenges that very modern loop we all fall into, the whole, why is this happening to me loop.
Oh, we do that constantly. We think pain is a puzzle, and if we can just overanalyze it, we can force it to make sense.
We gather data to create a false illusion of control. But the hard truth of Ecclesiastes is that not everything is meant to be fully understood in the moment.
Wow. Yeah, so we end up constantly confusing outcomes with truth.
How so?
Well, we assume that if someone is successful, they must be doing the right thing, and if someone is struggling, they must be doing something wrong.
Right, the old math equation again.
Exactly. But as verse 12 points out, a sinner can do evil 100 times and prolong his days. The results don't always reflect reality.
That's a crucial point. Short-term outcomes do not define long-term truth. If you judge what is good solely by immediate outcomes, you will lose your moral compass entirely.
Okay, having summarized this ancient view of an unpredictable world, we really need to pivot to the second half of our mission today.
The modern application.
Yes. Because if we accept that we can't control or understand the system, how do we actually live in it today? So what does this all mean for us?
It's the big question.
I mean, think about the modern equivalents of what the text is complaining about. Toxic workplace leadership, political frustration.
People cutting corners and getting promoted.
Mm.
Dishonesty being financially rewarded.
Exactly. So how do we survive that without losing our mind?
Well, the practical takeaway here is about locus of control. You're not responsible for controlling the entire system.
Right. I can't fire my toxic boss.
Exactly. When authority feels unjust, you don't control that authority, but you do control your response, your integrity.
But man, the danger of cynicism there is so high. When we see injustice ignored over and over, the temptation is just to give up.
Oh, absolutely. The temptation is to say, if the game is rigged, why should I play by the rules?
Right. Why not cheat if the cheater is valedictorian?
Because cynicism turns your morality into a transaction. The lesson here is that our integrity should not depend on the outcomes. It has to be stable regardless of the system.
But wait. If doing the right thing doesn't guarantee a good outcome, and we can't understand the why behind our suffering, how does this not completely destroy our faith?
That is the pivotal tension of the book.
Like, how can navigating this relentless unfairness actually strengthen our trust and relationship with God?
Well, the writer drops a massive anchor in the middle of all this frustration. Look back at verses 12 and 13.
Right. Despite the confusion, the writer maintains, "Surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God, but it shall not be what with the wicked."
Exactly. And, fear in this context doesn't mean cowering in terror. It means reverence.
Okay, reverence.
Yeah. If we connect this to the bigger picture, when life doesn't make sense, alignment with God matters much more than having an explanation from God.
Alignment over explanation. I like that.
Demanding an explanation keeps you focused on your own intellect, but alignment forces us to trust God's character rather than our immediate circumstances.
Our application guide actually connects this to some other biblical wisdom, specifically the Psalms, which I found fascinating.
Oh yes, the Psalms deal with this exact emotional crisis perfectly.
Like Psalm 73. It's basically a whole song about a guy whose math equation broke. He sees the wicked prospering, they're healthy, they're rich, and he almost loses his faith entirely.
Right. He says, "Surely in vain I've kept my heart pure." The envy almost consumes him until he enters the sanctuary of God.
And that's where his perspective shifts from the localized, under the sun view to an eternal one.
Exactly. The guide also mentions Psalm 37 about having patience when justice is delayed, and Psalm 62 about finding stability rooted beyond your circumstances.
So trusting God means accepting that delayed justice is not the same thing as no justice.
Beautifully put. Relinquishing the timeline is the ultimate act of trust.
But trusting God through the unfairness still sounds incredibly heavy. Like, is the answer just to grit our teeth and suffer quietly until the end of time?
It really sounds like it should be, right? Just endure it.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Verse 15 introduces this massive curveball.
The call to joy.
Yes, the writer suddenly commends mirth. They tell us to eat, drink, and be merry because that is what abides with a person's labor under the sun.
It's such a surprising antidote.
It makes me think of, imagine living in an apartment where the roof is leaking terribly.
Okay, leaky roof.
You've called the landlord, the system is broken, nobody is coming to fix it. The natural instinct is to just sit on the couch and fume at the drip.
Just stare at it and be miserable.
Right. But this text is essentially saying, turn your back to the leak, cook a warm, beautiful dinner, and sit down to enjoy it with your family anyway.
It's an act of quiet defiance against the chaos. I love that analogy.
It really is. It's saying the broken system doesn't get to steal your joy.
Because, we so often neglect our daily life while chasing answers. We put everything on hold.
We wait for perfect clarity before we live fully. I'll be happy when I get a new job, or I'll relax when the election is over.
Exactly. And the profound wisdom of Ecclesiastes 8 is that you can still live meaningfully right now. You can engage, not pause. You can find satisfaction in your work and enjoy life within your limits, even without full understanding.
So we don't have to fix the universe before we're allowed to enjoy a cup of coffee.
No, you don't. And that is the bottom line here. Ecclesiastes 8 is ultimately about finding stability in uncertainty.
Because the math equation will fail us.
It will. When life feels unfair and unclear, wisdom is choosing to remain grounded anyway.
Well, thank you for coming along on this deep dive with us today. We've covered a lot of ground.
We really have. From the whiplash of authority to the limits of our own intellect.
We went from acknowledging life's jarring inequalities to finding peace and strengthening our trust in God by just relinquishing our need for control.
And choosing alignment over explanation.
Yes. We've seen that delayed justice doesn't mean a lack of justice.
And that cooking that dinner under a leaky roof is an act of spiritual defiance.
Exactly. So looking at the unpredictable, sometimes completely unfair systems in your own world right now, how will you apply this information in your life?